Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? This is Yoftahe Mulatu Gabru from Boston, Massachusetts, saying hello to you again. And thank you very much for taking your time to be with me, spending some time with me. And I really appreciate it. Today, conversation that I wanted to pick was suggested by my good friend Hewitt. So I want to say thank you very much to Hewitt, making sure that she told me what I need to be bringing up this time. Hey, Konjo, good to see you here. Hey, Danny, it's good to have you here. Hope you're going to be able to spend some time with me. So I appreciate it. If you are here, please make sure to comment. Tell me where you are from. Any suggestion that you have, I'll be happy to take it. So thank you for being here. As we all know, we're all really going in a very, very tough time right now. Some people are saying this is for the first time that they have experienced it. Some may have gone through a few crises before. Hey, Mavit, good to see you here. So when Hewitt brought it up, I said, this is a good topic to really talk about because everybody has a different agenda, different perspective on what a crisis is. So, and then whenever a crisis happens, one thing that we do as humans, we think this is the first time that humans have gone through. We always forget what we have gone through before. Hey, nice to see you. Muye, hi Philmon. It's good to see you guys over here. So we all have the tendency of, I don't want to say exaggerating. Hi Atiye, it's good to see you here. But we always have the tendency of thinking this is the first time something like this ever happened. What is my goal today is trying to make sure that understanding the crisis, understanding the seriousness of what we have to go through. And hi Alpha, good to see you. Hi Gadai, it's good to see you all. Understanding what we are going through. What is our responsibility that we have from our education, what we are going through, where we're working, what we are doing. All of that has to be part of it. But we have to understand what kind of role we are playing. Are we participant, or are we here to educate people, or are we able to add value to people? So first I want to define, hi Mikey, good to see you here. What is the definition of crisis? So what I'm trying to put together is, it comes from the dictionary, what the Greeks are saying, and also from the medical point. So the definition goes like this, I'm going to read it for you. What's a crisis is an intense time of difficulty requiring a decision that will be a turning point. So from the dictionary, it's called it as a intense difficulty. And then the Greeks say, hi Sel, how are you doing? They call it a decision making. And from the medical point, they define crisis as a turning point. The patient's going to go bad, worse situation, or it's going to recover. So when we put all of those, it requires from all of us to act and make a point, a turning point. With every crisis, there is an opportunity. With every crisis, we elevate ourselves or elevate others. Are we adding fuel already to the fire that's burning, or are we here to add some value to all of us? So there are a few things we're going to be talking about, some of the topics that I want to talk about today. First, people, we have to think about ourselves, our family. So we have to worry about people. And any crisis that comes in, at the end of the day, the gain has to be people. Second is educating ourselves. Are we talking just to talk, or do we know the topic, what we are addressing? Hey Rasta, how you doing? So we need to educate ourselves. And three, above all, this time of years, like all of us being asked, we have to be flexible, adaptable. And then four, I want to talk about communication. That's going to be key. So going back to this, one thing that I want to talk about to all of us, when everybody's saying this is the first time that I'm going through, this is the crisis, the end of the world is coming in, I want to talk all of us a little bit back and understand what we have gone through. I don't even have to think about 200 years, 100 years ago, but if we just think 20 years back, that's just my age of my oldest son, just in 20 years what we have gone through. I want to go a little bit memory lane with all of you. All of you remember Y2K? People are going out and buying things, saying that the world is ending. This is going to be the end of the world. Y2K, we lived it. And that passed. 2001, what did we have? We had anthrax. 2002, it was the West Nile virus. 2003, the SARS virus. 2005, we had the bird flu. 2009, it was the swine flu. 2012, that's my favorite, especially Maya, because that's one of my daughter's name. What did we think in 2012? People were talking about it's the end of the world. So many suicide all over the place. And 2012, according to the Maya's calendar, the world was supposed to be ending. That's it. No more. And then we passed that. 2014, especially those of us from Africa, we have really been touched by this and we understood what's going on. We had what? The Ebola virus. It was all over the news. The world was ending again. How to protect it, put the borders. Everything was going the wrong way. In 2015, we had the Disney measles outbreak. And then in 2015, what else do we remember? ISIS. ISIS was going to be taking all over the world, and we all going to die, and all have to be kept indoors. And then 2016, do we remember the Zika virus? And then 2019, we had the measles again. And then now, 2020, we have what? The coronavirus. My friends, this too shall pass. There is a conversation whenever we talk about something, surgery, there is an analysis I wanted to do. A surgery versus minor surgery versus major surgery. A minor surgery is something that happened to you. A major surgery is something that happens to me. It's always a perspective. Whatever I feel through, or whatever I go through is always going to be major for me. So what is a minor crisis versus a major crisis? A minor crisis is something that happened 200 years ago, 20 years ago. And a major crisis is whatever we are going through right now. I'm not trying to minimize what we have to do. There is a role all of us have to play. Washing our hands, keeping our distance, social distancing, all of that. But this is not the end of the world. And this is not the first time even ourselves in our life that we have gone through crisis. We have been through this before and we have gone through it. So there are some other, call it the flu disease event that happened, that over 50 million people have been affected. So we need to understand what's happening and versus how we need to be able to react to it. First, I talked about the people's first is we need to take care of ourselves. We need to follow the direction. We need to take care of our family. When they say social distancing, we need to have that social distancing. We need to keep it. If we are sick, don't be selfish. Don't leave your home. Stay home because you don't need to make anybody else infected. Sometimes they talk about between 20 years old and 50 years old or 40 years old, this disease or this flu doesn't affect us much. But guess what? We could be the couriers and we may be able to give it for other people who are immune deficiency. Older people, we can affect everybody else. So keep ourselves clean and stay away from social gathering. This is not the time to try to do a backdoor gathering and then try to do everything what we are being told and not following through. Second, when we talk about education, let's not just talk about it. And I'm sorry to say it, and then all of us should be aware of this right now. News is not where we get educated. The newspapers or the news agenda, CNN, Fox News, have their own agenda. It's trying to keep us engaged in its entertainment or scare us. They need the viewers. So we do not go to CNN or Fox News to be educated about the coronavirus or any other virus. We need to get it from who? We need to get it from the CDC because they post good information what we have to follow. So when we say we are being educated, let's go to the source. Let's go to the right information and let's learn what we are talking about comes from an accurate source. Let's not add, let's not just propagate and then just throw out anything else that we hear as if it's true story or if it's something happening. There's already bad enough happening that we don't need to add into it. So let's make sure to educate ourselves. I said first, we need to take care of people, meaning ourselves, family, our neighbors. Be good neighbor. If there are some people who cannot leave the house and you are able to provide food, provide food. But this is our time that we're being told to stay home. And there are some people, what amazes me in this time is that never left the house, but right now, just because they are being told not to leave the house, they think like the whole world is ending and then they need to get out and do it. This is not a time to practice going out things that you haven't done before. This is a time to stay home. This is a time to keep that social distancing that's being told. So make sure to follow the direction. Educate, like I said. Do not get your information from the wrong places. You need to understand who has good information every single day. CDC has a great information from every single day. So make sure to follow the direction from the right people. The newspapers or news medias, the social media is not the place to educate ourselves. Third, we have to be flexible, adaptable. This is something that all of us are being asked, for example, to work from home. This is a time that a lot of places are being closed. So the flexibility, the adaptability has to be there. We need to be able to understand. We have to be able to change with time. I have my regular job. What else am I doing right now? This is an opportunity that I need to take. Everything is going online. So on the side, I have what? An online business that I have to be able to adapt and go with it. And if some of you want to know what an online business is, please let me know, inbox me, and then I'll make sure to share that with you. But all of us are being asked to be a little bit different, a little bit adaptable with the changes. We could complain as much as we want, but we have no control. Let's just control what we can control, and let's be flexible, let's be adaptable, otherwise we're not going to be able to survive. We have no choice. We have to move with it. One of my worry, something that's going to happen, a lot of businesses are hurting. There's going to be a lot of layoffs. A lot of people are going to need to do plan B, plan C that they need to come up with. So this is the time that we have to say, I used to be one of the people who was so against about home businesses. But right now, everything is online. There are other opportunities that everybody has to the future the next day. So let's be flexible. Let's make sure to be adaptable. And fourth, what I wanted to talk about is communicate. And when we communicate, it doesn't mean just talking, but make sure to have good information. Sometimes it's like less talking and more thinking. Let's communicate responsibly. Like I talked earlier, what we are sharing, what we need to be available for others is just, we need to make sure that the information that we are sharing is an accurate information. And fifth, what I want to add in all this, we have to have a little bit of humor into it. We have to be serious, we have to take accountable for everything, but at the same time, let's bring a little bit of humor from it. A lot of people are fighting because they don't know. I have seen this toilet paper thing is becoming like so ridiculous. People fighting at the grocery stores and everything else just to try to get toilet paper. So, sorry, I had an interruption. What we have to do in this time of day, how do we come out? My goal for this is, after you listen to this information, where we were yesterday, how we come out is going to matter. As good leaders, we have to be, I'm so sorry, because the phone is getting interrupted by a phone call, so I apologize for that. But as during this time, where we started should not be where we should end up. I talked about the different disease or crisis that we have gone through. So we should be able to come out of this as we go on. So just to summarize pretty much what we have gone through, it's an intense time. It's going to require us to be adaptable to whatever we have to go through. This is a time to spend good time with our families. If we are home, get to know. Some people were working 2 jobs. Right now, they are forced to stay home. This is a time to spend time with our families. Things that we didn't get to do before, get to do it right now. If we didn't know our neighbors, this is the time to help anybody that we have to help to. Another crisis that may come up, and then my good friend Mouye, if she's honest, right now, America might be ready to handle so many things, but Africa right now, we're thinking just because of the weather, because of other things, we think like it's not going to be affected by this. And I worry about that because there's not a lot of testing coming up. So there's a lot of preparation that we can do ahead of that so that the crisis doesn't hit also big time. Right now, every single day we've been told, I worry about Italy. My good friend, brother, Mike, we're praying and thinking for you guys. There's a whole lockdown all over the state, the country. We're starting to do the same thing here in the US. But the next hit might end up being big time Africa, because everybody thinks right now because of the warm weather, it's not going to be affected. But we have to prepare for any kind of crisis that's going to happen, because once the testing is being done, to be prepared for it, not just to be reactive, but be prepared for it. If some of you want to know a little bit more about that, please contact Mabit and contact me, and then we can talk a lot more about those. So, to summarize all of this, think about people. Don't just spread news that you're not aware of. Educate people. Educate yourself first and educate. And then be flexible, like I said, be adaptable and see during this time, what is it that I'm able to gain and get out of it. When you're staying at home, things that you were not able to accomplish before, this is your time. You're being forced to do it. Do it. A lot of people who are thinking right now, who never traveled, or traveling never even came to their mind, right now they are thinking, I wish I have seen A, B, C, D. We have a very limited time in this world. Let's try to bring good value for our family, good value to our neighbors, and let's try to explore the world. The world is not going to end. The Almighty is going to protect us. Whatever we're going through, this too shall pass. So take advantage, my friends, of what's being given to us. This is a moment sometimes actually that we are communicating more. This is for the first time in the whole world. We always have different thinking, but for the first time we're all talking about one thing, because it's affecting us all over the world. There is nothing special. It doesn't matter if you're poor, it doesn't matter if you're rich, it doesn't matter if you're famous. Even the Prime Minister's wife from Canada being affected by it. We hear the politicians being affected by it. We thought like those people might not be touched by it. So this is affecting all of us at the same level. So don't be careless. Make sure to take the recommendation that you have to do, but there is no reason to freak out. There is no reason to think the end of the world is coming in. Honor what we had and make sure to understand, to respect others. So come out as a leader. Be grateful, and whatever we're learning through this is going to make us better. So I appreciate all of you for being here. Please add value to it. Any suggestion that you may have, please leave a comment. If you are here, please to say hi. Rahel, it's good to see you. Orion, good to see you. So please leave me a comment. Any advice that you have, any feedback, I really appreciate it. So we have to take anything seriously, but this is not the end of the world. And let's not add any more negativity into it. Let's be positive. Bless you all until I see you the next time, and have a good night. This is Yoftaheh Gabru from Boston, Massachusetts, from The Gabru Show. See you next time.